Well, we're excited to get back and playing, obviously, and we play an extremely tough opponent. I think Indiana State's playing as well as anyone in our league right now. You know, their backcourt is extremely experienced with Key and with Nice. I think those are two of the better guards in our league. And in their front court, you know, with Laravia and Williams present a lot of challenges. Laravia is so different. He can play 1 through 5, and Williams, you know, has a great feel and brings a toughness to them down low and a physical presence. And then, you know, they have 2 grad transfers in Howard and Miller that can score the ball at high levels. So, you know, Coach Lansing's done a great job with this group, and they play extremely hard, and they're probably one of the most physical teams in our league as well.
Jeff Bidwell, do you want to kick us off?
Bryan, what has been, I guess, the biggest advantage of having these extra couple of weeks of time? I guess the one positive, if anything, that you've been able to take away from this not having to play?
It's a good question. I think coaching part, being able to watch some other games and you know, being able to maybe tweak some things offensively, defensively. You know, usually once you get going in conference, it's in a normal year, obviously it's Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, and you're just watching your games and watching the next team games. So having this little pause is you've been able to watch other teams around the country play and get some ideas. And then I think for our guys, you know, just kind of, you know, being ready to go because, you know, with taking this pause, these next, 5-6 weeks, you know, I think we play 10 games in the month of February, and we're going to have a stretch where we play 8 games in, you know, 2.5 weeks or so. So it's going to be coming fast after this stretch.
Have you, and I guess this is working under the assumption that the positive tests were with the student athletes, and we've seen some other instances where kids have had it and have come back, and maybe it's taken a little longer to get their legs back under them. Have you seen any of that? Have you had to adjust any? I guess just in terms of conditioning and so on to try to get them back into the fold.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, you know, within a day or two. You know, we've you know, had a pause at the beginning of the season before the season got going, and so we've experienced it with some of our student athletes, and it's a long time. You know, anytime you take, you know, 10 to 17 days off, you know, after you've been working out at a high intensity for an extended period of time, and you're in game shape, and then you gotta, you know, basically do nothing for that stretch of time. You know, it just takes time. You know, you just can't have 2 practices and then you feel great again. I think it just takes about a week or 2 weeks to kind of get back to where you were before that period. So we know it's a process with our guys.
Thank you.
Todd Hefferman.
You still have 4 more days before you play, but have you know, are you just practicing right now just to get guys in shape, or do you feel like you'll be able to actually work on some things before you play Indiana State on Monday?
Yeah, I think moving forward, we'll start focusing on Indiana State, you know, with the guys that we have available to practice. You know, we got to get the guys who are going to be able to play Monday, Tuesday, you know, as prepared as possible. And, you know, obviously Indiana State, like I said earlier, they're going to be ready to go. I know their series versus Evansville got canceled this week, so, you know, they'll have all week to prepare for us as well.
And, you know, I know there's 4 more days, but, I mean, do you feel any better? Do you feel like you're going to have enough guys to play on Monday as of right now?
Yeah, we should, as long as nothing happens in the next 4 days with injuries or testing situations. But we should have, you know, 8 scholarship players to be able to play Monday.
And you talked about Laravia and Williams. I mean, has Kyler just developed enough that maybe you can play him a little bit more with considering their lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Indiana State, I think that one of the reasons they're so good is because they're versatile and they play a lot of different lineups. They'll play, you know, Laravia at the 5. They'll play him at the 4, obviously, with Williams. You know, they'll put Barnes at the 5 and go small at times. So, you know, I think with Kyler, you know, we're going to need his physicality and we're going to need his competitiveness and his toughness. You know, I think the games that he's had, his best games of this year is when, he's kind of dominated with his energy. And, that's a challenge, that we've talked to him about, these last couple of weeks and just moving forward for the rest of the Valley season.
Thank you.
Ryan Scott.
Yes, I was just wondering kind of how much the team was able to stay in contact and practice during the quarantine, or was it all just on Zoom? Or...
What was the last part, Ryan? Was it all on what?
Was the team just meeting on Zoom and stuff during the quarantine, or was there any in person?
Yeah, we had some Zooms with the guys, and then also we had some guys who are not in quarantine, so they were able to do some individual workouts, and get in the gym and shoot by themselves and stuff like that.
Okay, and then I guess just how do you kind of balance keeping your players ready while not trying to I guess just how hard is it to balance staying healthy and preparing for the next game?
Yeah, it's obviously when no coaches have been through this season before, and no coaches have dealt with a 2-week pause or games getting canceled, and I do think student athletes are kind of understanding what this season is and what can happen and how important it is to focus on the things you can control. Like I've said before, I give my team a lot of credit, and my guys, it's an extremely close group. They've stayed together, and I think they're just excited, for this upcoming weekend. I think, when things happen, when adversity hits, the guys, don't look backwards. They look forward, and they stay together. And the good thing is the Valley's done a great job in terms of the scheduling, and we're going to be able to hopefully get our games in. And our guys just want an opportunity to compete.
Jason Hurst.
I had to take the mute off here for a second. That's why there was a pause. Coach, how much of a setback is there when you're going through everything and then all of a sudden there is a pause? So with conditioning or when you were in practice, you constantly go over things. Is it almost like starting at the beginning of the season again? How detrimental is it having nobody on the court for that long a period of a time?
Yeah, it's not ideal. That's for sure. It's just it's just unique. I mean, this season, like I mentioned, it's just you can't control that stuff, and I don't think if you spend any time worrying about it or complaining about it or making excuses because of it, it does anything productive. For us as coaches or for our guys as a team. So, you try to spin it, to your advantage. You try to, come up with creative ways for the team to become closer over this time. And, when you do face some adversity, that it'll help you in the future. It's just, you try to do the best with what's going on presently, and you try to prepare for the future. And, I think our guys will be ready to compete against Indiana State.
Yesterday we learned from Coach Stein that she kind of joked, I wish I had more time or wish I was having more time, this was extra time to prepare. And she said, right now she only has 5 players available to practice. So for you practicing wise, numbers wise, who's able to go on the court as far as not who, but a number wise?
Yeah, yesterday we had 7 guys be able to practice or be able to work out. So, obviously with limited numbers, you try to do a lot of skill stuff. You try to, I think the good thing is you can do some individual teaching that normally you don't get in the middle of the season. You can really focus on some skill development still during the middle of the season and get the guys better. And for us, having such a young group, it's important to get our guys better individually, and that'll make our team better.
And you're always constantly working on fundamentals, but because of the pause, do you have to go back a step to kind of refresh or work on things since, there was a gap in between being together on the court?
Yeah, well, in terms of individual improvement, we do that every single day with our guys throughout the season. It's a big piece of our program in terms of getting our players better, from July all the way through March. I think right now, coming back, you obviously got to review some 5-0 things. You got to get back to some of the team stuff that maybe you haven't been able to do the last couple of weeks. So I think over these next couple of days, preparing for Indiana State, we just got to make sure everyone's on the same page as a whole.
And the last thing for me, we've all talked before Mitt about prepping for Indiana State, so there's now a gap in between. Has anything really changed
Well,
as far as the preparation, I guess, for the opponent?
Well, they've played 4 games since we were originally supposed to play them, and I think they're playing extremely well. I think they've had a tough stretch. You see, obviously, playing Drake, playing at Missouri State, having Loyola, and then going to Illinois State. So, I just think they're playing, over the last 4 games, they're playing even better than before we were about to play them. So we just have to be prepared. Obviously, we have to take care of ourselves. We got to take care of the ball. We got to sprint back in transition. We've got to be able to block out and rebound and be able to match their physicality.
Matt Varney.
Bryan, you mentioned when you were talking with Todd that you should have 8 scholarship players on Monday. Just looking for clarification there. Is that only 8 or a minimum of 8 that you should have on Monday?
We should have a minimum of 8.
Okay. Have you been able to figure out how to shake off that game 2 bugaboo that your team has been experiencing this year?
We'll find out Tuesday or the following weekends. I think the second game it's something I think obviously a lot of teams and a lot of conferences have gone to back-to-back series this year, and it's different for coaches, for the student athletes, and I don't think it's the second game and our guys aren't ready for it. I just think with a younger team, I think mentally and emotionally, more so probably than even physically, getting them back up to that level to compete where they were at the night before after having a whole week of practice for that game is probably the biggest thing that we got to continue to focus on with our group and just possession by possession basketball that second game.
Last one from me, Coach. Having to go through now multiple outbreaks on the team and you yourself contracting the virus, are you ready for a vaccine and just kind of get this all behind us?
Well, I'm very grateful that everyone in our program that has experienced it is healthy and is doing well, and I think in terms of the larger scope, of course, I think everyone worldwide is ready for a vaccine and ready to move forward from this pandemic.
Thank you, Coach.
Adam Warfel, Daily Egyptian.
Hey, Coach. So you guys have 2 common opponents with Semo and Drake. What do you see on the tape against those 2 teams that you could take advantage in against Indiana State this week?
Yeah, I think Semo and Drake are a little bit different than us. I think Indiana State played really well against Drake, especially the second game. I thought they had an opportunity to beat Drake at their place. I think with Indiana State, it starts with their defense and their ball pressure and their physicality defensively. I think you got to be able to take care of the ball. You got to be able to handle their pressure. And similar to Drake, in terms of their defensive pressure, we got to do a better job of handling that than we did against the Drake series. So I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway is, are we going to be able to handle their pressure? And then obviously the transition defense aspect, if we can limit them and make them play in the half court, I think we put ourselves in an opportunity, to get a win.
Coach, with the break, can we expect anything new, or are you going to look about the same team coming out of the break, or were you able to implement some new schemes or anything because of the break?
No, I mean we're going to be us. We're going to be the same team in terms of our principles and what we think will be successful since we've been with this group since July. Hopefully, we were able to clean up some things, maybe some execution things, and then defensively, just be on the same page. And obviously with limited numbers, that's been difficult, but I think the guys that will step on the court on Monday and Tuesday night, will feel great about their games, and we'll be ready to go.